Hello, everybody. Good evening. Hello, Happy New Year. We're going to get started here. If you don't know me, if you haven't met me, my name is Jessica Hunter. I was the board president for 2022. Oh, I guess we should. Thanks, Johnny. And Johnny will be taking over for this very reason. So welcome, Johnny. This is the CGBG board. You'll see us. We're all going to speak tonight. Please come find us if you haven't met any of us. We've been busy. So you all know who we are. You're our members and sponsors, and we're super glad to have you and have you be part of this community with such amazing goals and aspirations and optimism. And we've grown a little bit. So since COVID, since I joined the board, we started a member directory, and the member directory is healthy. We now have 118 business members and individual members in the directory. Some of those businesses represent many members. Some of those individuals represent homeowners who are passionate and we love. So please check out the directory. If you haven't added yourself to the directory, please do. It's a great resource. And when people email us and say, hey, we need to do a project like this, who do you recommend? I say, go look at the directory. And you can too if you want. And we are also here because of our really incredible sponsors. Alpin and 475 have stood by us through all of COVID and everything else, and we are extremely grateful to them. We also have a growing crew of supporting sponsors, including Tectonic Design Build, who joined last month. Thank you guys. We're super excited to have you. Mitsubishi finally made it official. And Shape joined just last week. In addition to that, we've got Rodwin Architecture coming on board, and Emu joined today, made it official. So I didn't update the slide, but they're coming in hot. And it's really representative of the people who have been super important to the board and to our events and to our membership. And I'm very grateful to all of you for your support. And Sloan, who you might notice is missing from the slide. Yeah, okay. Sloan sponsorship this year is letting us take over their home, their office. This is where you are. These are some of my favorite humans. Dave is the reason I got brought into this crazy world of ours. So thanks for having us, you guys.
We'll sponsor.
Okay, we have to now. So just a quick agenda. I'm not going to talk the whole time. We're going to kind of round robin this to keep it quick and give you an update of what we've done this year. But we're going to just show you what the budget looked like last year, what we think we're going to spend all our money on this year, and what efforts we're focusing on with that funding. You'll get a quick update on our digital outreach, a recap of all the events we had in 2022. Johnny will talk a little bit about our vision coming into 2023, and you'll meet all the potential board members and find out who won our annual awards right at the end. So the last thing I just wanted to say is when we did this meeting last year, virtually, I think we were a few weeks after Marshall Fire, and day of Marshall Fire, Johnny and I were on the phone saying, what are we going to do? Like, we have to do something as individuals, as CGBG. And the entire CGBG community really showed up for Marshall, and I think we've all grown a lot from it. So I'm very grateful, and you'll see how that manifested through this recap. Jacob is going to take us through the budget. Jacob is our treasurer. Come on in. There's plenty of room.
Hey, everybody. So year 4 as treasurer, I can say we've never been stronger. It was a really great year, and a year for kind of the best kind of a total left turn, departing from our predictions that we could have thought of with the Build Forward event. You can see that, you know, the Green Home Tour, which is usually our major annual event, instead the Build Forward took place with that and took that event's place. and was a huge item for bringing new support into the guild. And we're projecting the next year we're going to go back to the Green Home Tour, and we're going to really put our effort into growing that event next year. So we far exceeded our projection of income, and next year, we're not anticipating the same kind of Build Forward event, but we're still anticipating strong growth. On the expenses side, we also grew our expenses versus our projection for 2022, and that we really wanted to put the funds that we're getting to use. That's our mission, is to use the money that the community entrusts us with to further the mission. And the big items there are the scholarship program that I'm sure will get talked about later, as an increase over our projected expenses, still outbalance that in our incomes. And for the 2023 projection, we're going to continue to put the funds we get to use and grow our programs and our thus our expenses. So the net there, we projected a $3,000 surplus for 2022. We ended up with a $6,000 surplus, growing our programs and also growing our income. And for 2023, we're projecting, an even larger surplus, and kind of keeping that for the lean years that inevitably come in any organization. But putting the funds to work, giving the board the resources they need.
Thank you. One thing you'll see on there, and we'll talk about the scholarship program a little later, is $17,000 that was dedicated to a scholarship fund that'll get distributed this year. The idea in general going forward is that as our Green Home Tour event or whatever events we're having grow, as sponsorship grow, that scholarship reflects that, and that's how we balance and give back to the community across the year. Up next is digital outreach with Michael.
Hello, I am the digital outreach and media chair for the board, and it was a really good year for us in terms of our growth online, in terms of how many people we reached and the types of content that we were putting out. Let's see. Yeah, so when I joined the board as a student member, we had like a team of like 3 or 4 people doing this. And this last year was kind of just me, which was, a little hard to stay on top of, but also a good challenge to take on. And the primary area where we're doing outreach is still Facebook. And YouTube is still very low, although we post a lot of videos. And LinkedIn is one that we just added this year to try to increase some more like professional connections. So it looks like most of our members who follow us online live in Boulder or Denver. And I'm sure maybe some of the Louisville people joined after the Marshall Fire. So that's just kind of some of the demographics that we have. And you can see our website traffic here over the course of the year dramatically spiked after the Marshall Fire. And one of the main reasons was that we did the What to Ask Before You Build webinar, which had kind of like our biggest reach of pretty much any event that we've done. Just given the circumstances, people were really interested, and we really put a lot of effort into that to make it a success and provide resources. Okay, so yeah, this is website visits around Colorado. So originally our organization was just a Boulder-based organization, and this kind of shows that we have grown to become the Colorado Green Building Guild, not just the Boulder Green Building Guild, which is great. And here's the best post of the year, the award that I created to give out to myself. And it's pretty ironic because this post, is terribly formatted, and it has none of our like branded with good fonts on it or anything. But this one is actually about a Rocky Mountain PBS article that was written about us. So, and about, Marshall Fire and building passive house after Marshall Fire. So this just proves that everything I do doesn't matter. It's just about what people are actually interested in, which is rebuilding in passive house. So in the coming year, we're really looking forward to expanding our presence on YouTube to grow our reach even outside of Colorado to the wider community and kind of spread the knowledge that we have centered in this room with all these great resources and people to anyone who wants to access it. Also, we're going to try to continue to grow the LinkedIn page and create more consistency about our platforms and hopefully get some more members who are interested in social media so that I don't have to do all of it. And that's it. Yeah, I think, you should follow us. Specifically our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. And we'll move on to events.
Thanks, Michael. Marisol is going to start us off with events last year.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marisol Foreman. So we had a lot of great events. We had our webinars, we had our Build Forward event, and then we also had our happy hours. So 2022, we almost got every month, but we had great ones, mostly Boulder based. We had Rayback, Avanti, Rosetta Hall, Avery, all over the place. Thanks for those of you who made it and joined some lively conversations. 2023, we're so excited. We're going to be expanding into Denver as well, and Arvada, and kind of everywhere between Boulder and Denver. So if the Boulder ones were hard for you to get to, we have some now that will be a little bit easier. Our first one will be at Wincoop, and that's coming up on the 26th of this month. Then we're going to have one back in Boulder for February for Mardi Gras at Wild Provisions. And then our next one is going to be in Arvada in March at the Denver Beer Co. Old Town in Arvada. So our webinar events, we had quite a few webinars that we put up. And one of the fantastic things that we were able to do this year that Boulder County helped us support was to do a live translation into Spanish during our webinars. And then both versions were posted onto our website and onto our YouTube page. So that was huge this year. Big thanks to Boulder County for all of their support. We had our What to Ask Before You Build advice from Green Building Pros, 200 attendees, which was crazy. Michael hit on that. March, we had our Building Resilience, How to Be Firewise, a lot of trying to respond to the Marshall Fire. April, we had our Building Passive House, Optimizing Costs and Benefits, and then closed it out in June with the Building Resilience and Fire Resistance Exteriors. And then last year, at the end of last year, we had our holiday party with some very fun participants. Thank you to all of those who joined. There was also, it was at the Alpen manufacturing facility. They were able to give tours to everyone. It felt like half of the party left when they gave the tours because everyone was so excited to walk around. So a really great event. If you weren't able to join us last year, you can join us this year.
And now we're just going to do a quick recap of the Build Forward event that we hosted in October, and Shannon's going to take over.
All right. So our Build Forward event was kind of our way to respond in a big way to the Marshall Fire and how we can offer help to the local community. We had hosted our webinar series throughout the year and then wanted to have a way to kind of bring everybody together, provide some training for builders locally on high performance building techniques, and then have an expo for designers, builders, and homeowners to interface with people. A lot of great vendors representing high performance building products and ignition resistant building products as well. So this event was huge for us. It was actually a huge fundraiser. We had 32 event sponsors, which was pretty incredible. A lot of familiar names on here and a lot of new names on here as well, which was really cool to see some new people getting involved. And part of the workshop, the morning we hosted a series of workshops for builder training. And I believe Johnny is gonna.
Johnny or Frank.
Or Frank?
think Frank, do you want to talk about the workshops real quick?
So yeah, this is kind of a culmination, right, of all these events that we're hosting throughout the whole year to really bring in the sponsors, bring in homeowners as well. But really, this part of it was training builders and designers. And so the idea is just at the very least to get you familiar with these types of systems, different options to be able to meet the newer energy codes, specifically because Superior and Louisville had adopted new codes just prior to the Marshall Fire, or just about to in the start of 2022. So giving you different options and different ways to build other than like your conventional ways, and trying to make it less scary for people who already have their systems built out, and trying to help them develop new systems and making it a little bit more approachable. So we did double stud walls, which there's lots of great information on double stud walls that you can find through one of our sponsors, 475. They have free downloadable info, and there's some stuff over there about those too. Just a little plug for 475. Continuous exterior installation, Mark led that one. And basically different ways to wrap your house in continuous installation. If you just want to do a standard stud wall, wrap it, super helpful. And I don't want to take up too much time. So air tightness, detail, and sequencing. Johnny led that one. Johnny's with 475. Again, so many great products, but also just like details, even if you don't use their products, free downloadable drawings. Mechanical systems. DMA led that one. And I guess that was Steven. Yeah. So obviously with tighter homes, you need more advanced mechanical systems, and that means a lot of heat pumps and a lot of continuous ventilation. And then intro to certification with Build Tank and EMU and FIAS. And so, there are rebates through Excel if you want to get Energy Star or all electric or meet the 2021 code or go passive house in different ranges of passive house. There is money available. So a lot of this was like, how can you take advantage of the money available? And is it worth it? That's kind of the math that you're going to have to do when you're estimating these jobs is, if I get $37,000 to go passive house, does that balance out financially, or does it meet my client's goals and at least help us to get over that hump? And then the passive house tour, big thanks to Shape in Sterling for hosting that. There's a duplex passive house that they gave a tour to the day after the expo. Really cool house, really awesome project. I think EMU is part of that project as well. And just big thanks to EMU for supporting some of these too. So these are all available online if you want to watch them as well, if you've missed. And
Not yet.
they're almost all available online. You can watch them, just subscribe to that YouTube page. That's right. Lots of sponsors, the sponsors and the exhibitors are the reason we were able to create that scholarship fund, which we'll be talking more about. But, so many people stepped up, and it wasn't really that they necessarily even stepped up for CGBG, they stepped up for the Marshall Fire community, which was huge. And we were able to generate a lot of money for that. And so it's going to hopefully make a really big difference in how we rebuild. And then I think that's my time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it was a very big day for us, and it was I think part of what we haven't touched on yet is that it was also kind of a surprise for us because we were in the midst of all this. We felt like we were responding constantly. Basically, this happened at the very beginning of the year, right when we were starting the plan, and we said to ourselves, are we going to meet this call, or do we not have the capacity to do that? And it was a little bit of both. We basically maxed out our capacity amongst this board, like completely, and then some. And I think we answered the call.
And this event really was the culmination of that, and the culmination of, again, bringing together so many people in this room and outside of this room into one spot. And so just to touch on, I thought was one of the most critical components of the whole thing. We had Boulder County Sheriff Curtis Johnson speak about not only responding to the fire, but his own home burning and his own decisions, and his own family's decisions to build back to a higher standard than there were before. And having that kind of example in the community, and to have him speak was huge. It was absolutely huge. And so far, this is although we have thoroughly documented that entire day because we knew that there were going to be valuable tidbits all throughout. This is the only video that's currently online is right there. Then we had our keynote speakers were a collection of folks that if you watch any of the Build Show or the Matt Reisinger's channel on YouTube, they're all part of, they're YouTube famous builders, Travis Brunkart, Jake Brunton, and Will King from Kansas, Missouri, and Alabama, respectively. They did a video for us where they talked about high performance in passive house construction and how it's changed. Their knowledge of that changed the way that they build. And so their real target audience were builders who are maybe on the fence about taking that extra jump to that next level. And they were just really there to say, hey, we're doing it in Kansas, Missouri, and Alabama. I'm pretty sure you can do it in Colorado, And they did great with that. That's going to be our next video coming out. So again, all of these, everything Frank mentioned, all of those were all recorded and will be coming out one by one as we edit them, as we have the capacity to. And then also some of the things you can watch on it now. This is a shot of me wearing the same shirt and jacket, I think. On PBS, Rocky Mountain PBS, Jeremy Moore did a fantastic job of documenting this whole experience. If you look, I noticed actually, because I have Google alerts set up for it. PBS Rocky Mountain recently came out with like a wrap up of like all the things they did on Marshall Fire this year, and basically it's also kind of a documenting of what CGBG did this year, right? Because he covered it so well, and which was just so wonderful to have that be sort of an unplanned component of all of this. Have sort of our local connection to media, which was huge all throughout. So with that,
I'll hand off to Marisol. Who's going to just talk about the scholarship.
Okay. So since the workshop and expo were so successful, we actually have more than $17,000 that we get to use for a scholarship fund this year, which is really exciting. The whole point of the scholarship fund is to incentivize advanced training for building industry professionals. So everyone is encouraged to apply. There's not an age or experience level. We have a full questionnaire that you can fill out. Tell us what you want to learn. We have a few suggestions, EMU, passive house certifications as well, but it's really open. Just send us what you want to learn, and then CGBG will help cover a portion of that. So check it out on our website. We have some FAQs, the application link, and if you want to be a sponsor for that in the future, let us know. Reach out to our admin.
So before we move on from Build Forward, one quick story. The whole thing started as like a sidebar conversation with the county, and they said, if we give you money, how are you going to spend it? And Johnny called me and he said, if they give us money, how are we going to spend it? And we spent a lot of time across the board trying to figure out what we can do and how do we take the funding they can give us and maybe do as much with it as possible. And the first thing we thought of was, let's fund training for professionals who have a barrier to entry or just can't quite get motivated enough, aren't incentivized enough. And then we thought, well, what can we do? And ultimately what we did was end up with a scholarship fund that is substantially more than the initial original sponsor. We had a huge amount of homeowner community feedback and connections made, dots connected across builders, dots connected across manufacturers. There's a lot of background happening with every local jurisdiction, every nonprofit alliance we built, CPR, PBS, who am I feel like I'm leaving somebody out, but daily camera even. And it was, for me personally, having seen communities impacted by urban wildfires before, incredible, because I've never seen a response like this. And it wasn't us. We took the ask and we took the momentum and the passion of homeowners and of the jurisdictions and of the community and tried to help direct that with our collective experience and knowledge. But there's a lot that we can't put in these slides, and just very, very grateful for all the people that participated in this year.
It's worth mentioning on the budget end of it, we never touched that $10,000 that the county gave us because we got so many in-kind donations and monetary donations we were not expecting. And so that's why that number is that high.
The number is big because
we never touched the money they gave us.
Well, the town of Superior gave us the space. We had a lot of people, if we go back to that sponsor page, the beer you are drinking today was Build Forward Free donated beer by Avery. Thanks to this guy's really good friend who brews there, and they just their own passion for the community. So it really was everybody stepping up. And especially actually for me, the small sponsors who didn't want a table, who weren't going to present, but said, we care about it. This is important to us and we want to contribute. And our goal was to take all of that funding, do an event that touched as many people as possible, that cost almost nobody any money, and then continue to do that throughout the year. And really not, CGBG is not here to have a huge coffer of money. We just need enough so that we can front the money and then give it away afterwards. So that's what Build Forward was all about. And it all started with the phone call with David at Boulder County. So thank you, David. So our vision for 2023, I'm going to let Johnny kick it off as our incoming president.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. So we had all this incredible momentum, all of this, and thanks to Jess for like the incredible leadership involved in making this all happen. We have a lot that we can do this year, and it's very exciting because we have, not just whether it's just monetary support, in-kind donation, the support of people's time and effort. We've got more than we've had in several years. And so in theory, there's a lot that we can be doing this year. So in 2023, we plan on having continuing monthly happy hours, a whole set of new webinars, hard hat tours, in-person and hands-on presentations, the return of the Boulder Green Home Tour, some other sort of expo may be tied to that. Since we had that experience with the Build Forward Expo, maybe it could be part of the Green Home Tour. So there's sort of a hub connected to it, make it even bigger and better. Engagement with affiliate conferences. So that would be, so the Natural Building Conference is happening in Boulder. The Passive House Conference is happening in Denver. This year, we plan to engage with both of those. New blog posts, new videos, the scholarship program, and support and engagement with the Center Sustainability that's being planned at Winnetka Centennial Farm. That is really taking shape this year, and this organization is going to be a big part of that. And so these are all the possible things we can do. And as you can imagine, 8 people on a board can't do all of that, right? But these are all the things that are in motion right now, right? So how are we going to do all that? Committees make a comeback. So at the start of the pandemic, committees kind of fell apart for obvious reasons. A lot of things sort of fell apart. And we kept going online, but committees didn't sort of work in the same way. And then when Marshall Fire hit, it was even more so because so much of it was, again, us reacting to like literal phone calls, let's say from the county or from the state and like other, like we've been on, Jess and I in particular have been on weekly, sometimes bi-weekly phone calls with the city, state, county, like everything, like these organizing things. So all of it was just coming through us. We couldn't relay it fast enough to any other committee or anything because we were too busy just keeping up with it. And so it just wasn't feasible. And so now we want to make that come back and maybe reorganize a little bit. So this is sort of a working vision for what those committees would be, is to have a networking committee that focuses more on the happy hours, student engagement, young professional outreach, mentorship, membership, sponsorship outreach, things like that, things of that nature. Education committee that focuses on webinars, hard hat tours, presentations. A big events committee is what I'm calling it right now, but basically not the people who are putting everything on, but more the people who are managing the communication around those big events, the home tour, build like another version of whatever the Build Forward Expo goes on to be, communicating with Passive House Network or Natural Building Alliance, things like that around those conferences. And then one conference possibly, or one committee possibly dedicated just to the Winnetka Centennial Farm project, because again, part of the development around that that's been really exciting is that the city of Lafayette has now gotten fully behind it, and everyone's involved, and the council's involved, and the Chamber of Commerce is involved, and all these things, and there's going to be a lot that happens there. And just to give you a little sense for what we're thinking might happen there, is basically sort of a green building training center could very well be part of it. This is part of what they're excited about, is that there isn't something like that around, and they think that that could be a source for people to come in from all over to basically be, you know, to get the kind of training that they got at the Build Forward event year round, you know, to have a place where people can build mock-up walls and try things on and get training that they can't get anywhere else. So that, or like learn straw bale, learn plaster, learn, like, you know, like that's part of the vision now. And so that's why Colorado Green Building Guild is slated to be a significant part of it, is because we're looked upon for all of the expertise in that, like what should be on their agenda when it comes to that stuff. So that could be a pretty significant one this year. So that's what we have in mind. And then furthermore, board roles, or like chair, I guess we could say in some sense, like content creation, digital management, treasurer and grants, the scholarship fund management, and strategic planning being those roles. And so those would primarily be board roles. But we're also, these aren't set in stone yet. Part of what we need to do is, as the new board gets voted on and comes on, we will formulate and figure out which parts of these make most sense. This is kind of just how we thought we'd organize it for now. And I think could stick, but we'll see. And part of that is, how much response are we going to get when we put this concept out there? How much will members of CGBG come back and say, hey, yeah, I want to be on, I want to volunteer for one of these committees. We can only do as much as we have, commitments of time and energy for. And so that'll be part of that assessment too, is how much of that we can do. So as you can see, a lot of potentially exciting things happening. This is a growing organization, so it's a great time to get involved.
Thanks, John. If you feel like that's a lot, those are the jobs we had this year already. So we've trailblazed the path, and it's doable, and I'll just say, and Dave said something like this to me, it is time you didn't know you had, and it's kind of the best time you spend is the time you find to get back to this organization, because it really does, you see the impact you can make in real time, not in the ether, not somewhere else, but your neighbors and your community really feel the benefit of the investment you make in CGBG. So we are on to the two main events of the evening. First, you're going to meet our candidates for the 2023 Board of Directors. I'm very honored to introduce these people and excited that they want to come onto our crazy crew. And then we'll wrap up with award winner announcements. So first, I just want to thank the brave faces in this corner. These are your continuing board members who will be sticking on for one more year. Our presidential cycle has a kind of 3-year phase. So I will be past president next year. Johnny will be acting president. I'm super excited to announce that Shannon from Rodwin Architecture is going to be president-elect. Shannon did incredible work this year, and I'm just so impressed by Shannon constantly. So that's who you can look to as leadership. And massive, huge thank you. Greg is on a baby moon. He can't be here tonight, but we're super thankful for Greg and Frank, who has been, I don't know, the coolest head and the heart and soul of CGBG since I joined. And I'm a little bummed not to see you as often. And I hope to see you around still, but thank you for all of your time and years of effort. Thanks for that. So each year as board members retire, even though we keep calling them, like we called Dave to ask if we could take over his office, throw him under the bus, we consider new candidates to join the board. And board members work together to set the course for the organization. So the vision Johnny shared is the vision we have been synthesizing as we have reacted this year and taken the last month and a half to kind of reflect on how we move forward with that and make that a longer, sustainable, more productive organization for our community. But all board members are part of that. And so the new board members that you select will help us define what that really looks like and what really happens in the next year and years to come. I'm going to introduce each board member. You can come up, you can stand up, introduce yourself, introduce yourself with a little bit of information, and just say what you, either why you want to be on the board or what you think you could contribute to the board. And then voting will be posted tonight. There's QR codes if you want to get a head start. Voting will be open through end of Monday. So what we're looking for is for all of our members and sponsors to tell us what you think would be the best fit based on the vision you care about for CGBG. And new board members will be announced at the end of next week. Up first, Dylan from Tectonic Design Build. I'll let you take over.
Hey everyone, my name is Dylan with Tectonic Design Build. We are a residential design build firm here in Boulder, Colorado, really focused on shifting and pushing the ways we build, the why we build. We got our certified passive house tradesperson cert with EMU a couple years ago and just really drank that Kool-Aid, just all in on that approach to building. I think, whether or not we're going for certified, we can really take those that teaching and apply it to how we build, why we build, and being, building better, whether we're remodeling or building new. And I came across the CGBG, I think like a year or two ago, kind of through EMU and those folks, and just really fell in love. I just think like having a group of like-minded folks really speaking the same language and doing a lot in this community. And I really want to be a part of that, helping to educate the community, educate other builders, educate our network as a whole, and really push this envelope further and why we do it and how we do it. Thanks.
Dylan and I had lunch, I think it was in June. And that's when he first was like, maybe I could join the board. And so I will say, of everybody, Dylan, you've been the most consistent.
And by the way, I just want to mention the link to read these slides is on the voting.
Yeah, so when you open the survey, there's a link in the little intro, so you can see these slides later if you forget who's who. Next up, Lisa. I haven't even said hi to you. Is Lisa here? There you are. Like, how have I not even seen you yet? You are not small. Lisa is the only board member who is also an award nominee, which is really good timing because as a board member, you cannot win an award. So well played, Lisa. And please say.
I wasn't expecting to have to say hey to everybody. I'm Lisa Morey. I'm owner and founder of Colorado Earth, based in Golden. I have a kind of previous history making adobe bricks in New Zealand in the early 2000s. I kind of brought that eventually here, and making compressor blocks now lime stabilized. So my involvement with CGBG has kind of been more recent. I think she just talked to me about joining the board, which I was excited to be considered for. So I'm part of the Natural Building Alliance here. Ian is also president of that. So I think I look forward to connecting some of the dots on with some of the organizations and conversations I'm part of in the natural building world, and you know, work with Anna on deconstruction. So I just love finding solutions that make sense, and I think bringing them to this organization, this community would be pretty awesome. Yeah, thanks guys.
There's a tendency for board members and past presidents to strongly encourage or elbow, the way I was elbowed, to join the board. I think everybody probably was elbowed, but with good reason. I probably would have never had the courage to do it without Dave like behind me with both hands, like pushing me over the line and handing me a beer. So so you're not alone. It's a long tradition. Jess Hendricks, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Jess. I did my undergraduate here at CU in 2019 in architectural engineering. And then following graduation, I joined the Peace Corps and taught physics and math in Tanzania until COVID. And then after that, I decided to do my master's in sustainable engineering at Villanova. So I just finished that in December and moved back to Boulder recently. And I've been looking for ways to get more involved in the community and use my time and combine my knowledge with architecture and sustainability to give back to the community. And I talked to Mike about this organization, and he encouraged me to apply. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Jess. Peter Stewart, who you've already heard mention of. Peter offered up his Passive House certified duplex for our home tour the day after the Build Forward Expo. I'll let you talk.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Peter Stewart with Sterling Builders, and I think I was elbowed into this because I was told I didn't have to drive to Boulder at all. And now I'm here. But anyways, I'm here now. I am excited to hopefully be a member of the board. I think that one of the big things for me is dealing with a lot of these people here. I think the ideas in this room are magnificent. And I think that there's a pretty big gap between those ideas and the full-on dirty construction world. And I'm really pushing to try to bring those ideas in. And I am hopefully going to be able to help with that. I think everybody in this room dislikes architects as much as I do. So if we don't have to deal with them, maybe. Hey, I drove all the way to Boulder. So yeah, I think it's really exciting to get those ideas and to take the ideas from an architect and take the ideas from EMU and figure out a way to make this whole process easier for the average building world, the guys who just graduated from high school and come and want to work for me and don't know anything whatsoever. Those guys are latching on to this whole green building idea as sort of something that's more than just hammering nails. So that's my spiel.
We don't have to be friends if you join the board. I just want to make that clear. I will say one of the things we learned this year as an organization, and it's always been a combination of builders and engineers and architects and everybody else, real estate agents on the board and in our members. But having builders in the room, having everybody in the room was really our primary goal this year. And from top to bottom, that was the whole idea of the Build Forward Expo, is how do we get everybody in the room? Because I'm a dumb architect. I don't know all the answers to everything. I call my builders all day, every day to ask them questions about things they're not even building. And that's the collaboration I love. I think that's what makes the board powerful. What makes CGBG powerful as an organization is that overlap. So back at you, Peter. Shia.
Hello, I'm Shaya. I work at Coburn Partners as an architectural designer. I graduated from CU with environmental design in May, so I'm fairly new to this world. But I feel very grateful to have found this community through Mike also. And ever since I was a kid, I really enjoyed nature and exploring, but I also enjoyed designing. And so for my entire life, I've been trying to connect the two. And I think designing complementing nature and with nature is the future. And it's also how my mind works. And I would love to be a part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Matt Brill, and I don't think I've said hi to you, Matt, but hello. I saw you walk in and I just didn't get a chance to.
Hi everyone, Matt Brill with Bowen Build, new to Colorado. Spent many years doing civil construction, mainly in San Francisco. So really excited to be part of building homes to create healthy spaces for people to live and enjoy. And I think I'm really excited to join the board for two main reasons. One is education, and the second is advocacy. I think the big gap between the ideas in this room is the awareness of people buying and designing home or deciding to build homes. They don't even know to ask for the things that we're discussing. I think that's where we really need to move the needle, because I think there's a lot of people excited about responding to the needs of people, but they have to be able to ask their builder, because a lot of builders that are not in this room are not going to suggest the ideas of passive house or green building to their clients. So I think that's where we really need to focus on educating the public. And then for advocacy, I think we need to focus on getting more city officials involved to be supportive of maybe streamlining project approvals that are net zero or passive house. And that could equally incentivize homeowners to say, hey, I can save 6 months to get my home built if we can get it approved quicker. So really excited about the organization. I learned about a year ago from EMU as well. So yeah, be honored to be on the board. Thank you very much.
Optimism is an extremely important quality when you're on the board of CGBG, so I'm all for that. And back in the day when I was first, when I first joined the board, I was also fresh out of California, so don't hold it against him. Don't hold it against him. Alex Houghton from DMA Engineering.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex. Pretty new to Colorado as well. 2 years out. Came from the University of Vermont as an engineer. You betcha. So I'm on the DMA engineering team, designing mechanical systems, some energy modeling, commissioning, really bringing technology into it. Really excited to see. Well, so I started going to the CGB events completely blind. So thank you for putting on the happy hours and for the elbowing. But yeah, the knowledge this team has is unbelievable. And yeah, really excited to see what I can learn from the team and what I can give back and what we can conquer together. Thanks for the consideration.
Kate from Cottonwood.
Hi, I'm Kate Weichel. I'm also recently new to Colorado, maybe even more recently new. I just moved here in April. My background is in carpentry, but I'm transitioning to project management with Cottonwood. So I have an art degree. I learned carpentry doing set carpentry in New York City, and then I spent the last 4 or 5 years doing affordable housing work. So I've done an internship with Community Rebuilds, building straw bale houses in Moab. I worked in the first affordable living building challenge homes there. And I also was a speaker at the Natural Building Alliance conference, which is one of the reasons I'm here in Colorado now, actually. Yeah, my interests are also very much in diversity and inclusion. As far as green building, I think as green building kind of moves forward and grows, that we have a lot of opportunity to include people that have typically been left out of who's included in building. So as a kind of hands-on carpenter, I feel like that's something I'm really excited about. I also have a background in multimedia and event coordination, so definitely willing to help out on the social media stuff. Yeah, and Jeff is my boss, Jeff at Cottonwood, is like really excited about the board and wishes he could be here as well. So He's been a big booster for a while. And so looking forward to building more community here. I think community is probably the biggest tool of resilience that we have in the face of climate change and the worsening effects of things we're going to experience as community. And it sounds like CGBG is really building some strong community. So cool.
Vote. Go vote. There's a QR code. Yes. So that's a great question. I designed the voting system this year, and I'm very excited and proud because it is ranked voting. You are going to order all of the people in the order you feel they most best suit what you want to see from CGBG, and then it will get tallied accordingly. And then we'll take that all into consideration. And that number of seats, though, how many are? So that's a great question. The board does not have a number that it has to stick to. We have, even while I've been on the board 3 years, had I think a different number of board members each year. Johnny and I have talked about 3, maybe 4. We'll see. I think it just depends on how it all shakes out. So yeah, my pleasure. Go vote. Rank your people. All right, what you've all been waiting for. The 2022 CGBG award winners. And Frank, who might not have read his email, is presenting the first award. So I thought I'd let him know. I threw him under the bus earlier.
Well, I'll just say that, as past president, you don't really have that much responsibility. So
I'm about to be past president.
that's really just to say that, if you decide to join the board and you're like, 3-year commitment, it's really only like 2 and change. At least if you follow the pattern of previous past presidents.
It's true. One thing I'll say first before we announce our first award winner is that we had over 400 individual votes for awards this year. Like, if that isn't a reflection of what this year has looked like, I don't know what is. And what I didn't realize until I closed voting is that it only allowed each IP address to vote once. So that's not like, somebody's mom sitting at home every day dropping 10 votes all voting season. Absolutely not. Over 400 votes, and really excited about that. First step.
Yeah. And since I have the floor, I will say that if you don't make it onto the board and you wanted to, or if you're just like, I didn't really want to run for a board seat, but you want to be involved, remember, committees are making a comeback. So you don't have to get on the board to be involved. Just
outreach committee.
If he hasn't driven that point home yet. So I'll be presenting this first award. I'm very honored to present to this person who I've known for a while, colleague, friend. Was that? Oh yeah. So the Leadership Award, it's a member of the Colorado Green Building Guild who has shown exceptional noteworthy commitment to advance the Green Building Guild, has led or encouraged others to do the same, if you can read. So it was Lisa with Color Earth, Lisa, who you just met, Zach Swank, who is huge, just helping us get through or getting us involved with Marshall Fire and giving us all the money and everything. Anna Perks, who's doing amazing things with deconstruction and resale of those things. Mark Guittard, who's been essentially like a board member this year with all the Marshall Fire stuff. So big thanks to Mark. But the people have spoken, and this year's award goes to Lisa Moore with Colorado Earth. Congratulations. Great timing.
No spoilers. She must have like 100 devices because
And the VPN, changing the IP address every time.
it was Johnny the whole time. Okay, the Green Champion Award, and I can't remember who I said was presenting this. Does anybody know? Am I presenting it now? Shannon,
I'll take
you're
it.
up.
All right. All right. Green Champion Award. So unlike the Leadership Award, this one goes to a non-CGBG member. And it's typically a great way for us to say, hey, here's an award, be a CGBG member. This year we had some fantastic candidates, and it's really kind of a crime that we only give out one award. Just with the situation after the Marshall Fire and the involvement of the community sort of outside of the typical CGBG crowd, we had a lot of really fantastic candidates. The first one being the Lombardo family. They were Marshall Fire homeowners and are just completely gung-ho. They are rebuilding Passive House and have been volunteering for CGBG events, talking their neighbors into building Passive House, and doing some pretty incredible things in the community. Jeremy Moore with Rocky Mountain PBS, we talked about him a little bit earlier, but just his incredible coverage of the work that's going on in the green building industry and helping the rebuilding effort. Then we've got Russell and Kyle with Black Timber Builders, Josh Lake with Elephant Energy, and Rob Buchanan with XL Energy. And he was kind of behind the XL incentives for the Marshall Fire rebuilds, which is pretty cool. So drum roll, the award goes to the Lombardo family.
It will be delivered.
It will be delivered.
I will say that of the categories, while there was a lot of voting and there were a lot of very contentious races, this was the only one until I closed the voting that I just was not sure what would happen. And I think that's just a reflection of the impact non-CGBG members made in the work we were doing this year. And yeah, congratulations to all those nominees. Next up, Student Project of the Year.
So I'm presenting the Student Project of the Year award. I don't know why they picked me. I'm no longer in college, but this award is given to celebrate the best student work that champions green building practices created by a Colorado student enrolled in a related field. So we had some great submissions. Really took me back to my time in EMBD, reviewing the EMBD projects. So there's the Green Tech drive-through, which Maslin and Olivia submitted. And then there's the Salvation Library, which was a really cool project from a fellow EMBD person who is an undergrad student, Lauren. And also the Front Range Polo Complex, another EMBD project. We got a lot of polo complex projects. You could tell what the senior studios were this year. That one was interesting. Lots of horses involved in the renderings. But I am happy to announce that the Green Tech drive-through is the Student Project of the Year. Woo!
So I really love this project. Can you just give the 2-sentence elevator pitch on what you guys did on the spot for anybody that hadn't looked at your submittal?
We invented building material out of recycled tires because there's a monofill about 50 miles north of Denver that has about 80 million tires that are just not being used. So we took that waste and we figured out a way to manufacture them, and we developed a tire tile, and that's what you see on the facade there. And then we redesigned it so that it could fit on the substructure and be like a green type.
So watch out for their Kickstarter. I just willed it into existence. I'm not sure that's the plan, but I would love it to be. Last but not least is our Green Building of the Year, and Marisol's going to present it.
All right, so our last award, it's given to celebrate the most innovative, well-designed, and beautifully constructed sustainable building located in Colorado that was designed or built by a Colorado firm. So we had a lot of submissions this year, all really beautiful projects. I hope you all had a chance to look at them when you voted. We had the Chung Tai Zen Center, the Blue Mountain Modern Project, the Williams Residence, the Peak to Peak House, Resource Central, and the Englewood Passive House Duplex. So the winner this year was the Chung Tai Zen Center.
I'll take it back to the office. I didn't work on it at all. I promise.
So one of my favorite stats from this project is that they used a lot of mass timber and they saved the CO2 equivalent of keeping 411 cars off of the road for a year. So pretty impressive project, also really beautiful. And the team, since they're not here to select the award, accept the award, is Adolph and Peterson Construction, Sofer Sparn Architects, MARPA Landscape Architecture and Construction, JVA, LWS, and Element Architectural Lighting Design. Congratulations.
And I just want to congratulate all the winners and all the nominees one more time for the 2022. Now, if you're thinking, I didn't know you had awards. We have awards. And submissions open in November. You can be a project within 3 or 5 years for a green building. It can be, read them, submit. They're great. We'd love to look at what you're working on. So to wrap this up, ways to be involved this year without being on the board. You can join a committee, make a focused effort. You can volunteer for a single event or a single task. You can encourage people you know who would just fit into this family to join or come to a happy hour. Those events don't require membership. We don't charge you a cover. Come to an event, help us spread the word, see you at a happy hour, etc. And we'll see you at happy hour very soon in Denver at the end of January at Wynkoop. If you take public transit or ride your bike, I will buy you a beer. Maybe Johnny's buying you the beer because he's in charge. But well, I don't know when I think official transition is February, so I'll rock the credit card. Yeah, Jacob's buying the beer. He told me to spend the money today, so here I am. And that's it. So thank you so much for everything.